Test, 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 test. All right, we're good. Moose, what's going on? Mr. Money Mike Madness. Beantown, how are you? Ben, how you doing? Skylar. Peter. Daniel, how's it going? Peter, you'll be in and out? Sounds good, my friends. What's up, Kenneth? Mr. Bob Dylan, how you doing? Robbie, my man, how are you? That one guy, what's up, folks? What's going on, folks? We got this is such a weird time of the year for Red Sox baseball. These last couple of years, I should say specifically, are such a weird time of the year because it's like you're not totally done with the season, right? You're not totally done with the season, but you're kind of done with the season. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, what do you talk about? Luckily, there's been some really interesting things lately, and that's a really good thing. But it does kind of suck reading the posts that are like, man, the Tigers are a game and a half out. The the Mariners are a game and a half out. It's like, we could have been right there with just a couple more wins, man. The Twins and the Royals were giving it to you, and you just couldn't take it. You see Campbell's hurt? Yeah, Campbell's out. Sounds like it might be the rest of the regular season at least. You know what? To be honest with you, no one should be really worried about that. No one should be worried about that. If this was any other point in the season, he would have been on the IL for probably a week, and then they would have had him right back in there. But the Woo Sox only have. I'm so mad. I couldn't even go to the. I couldn't even go to the last weekend of the Woo Sox. I'm pretty upset with myself, but yeah. So that was last weekend of the Woo Sox. They might make the playoffs, so maybe we'll have something to watch. Yeah, exactly. I think at this point, Christian Campbell is in my opinion the player to watch for the Woo Sox. I mean, he got shut down for the year. The Woo Sox have 6 games left, and then they're done, right? So it's not like he really got shut down for the year. He got shut down for the week. It just happened to be the last week of the year. What's up, Moose? Back to what Robbie was saying, though. Yeah, man. Like at this point, when we're looking at who Christian Campbell could be and who's going to be the first truly like big impact rookie to come up next year, if Anthony doesn't make and I do think Anthony has a chance to make it out of camp. I guess it just sort of depends on what the Red Sox do this offseason. But Campbell, in my opinion, is almost as sure of a bet as you can get. There's not really any good second baseman on the market this offseason. There's not really any good second baseman for the Red Sox to go and trade for, right? Second base position is, it's fine to me. You got like the big guys, right? You got like Jose Altuve, Bryson Stott's not bad. I'm trying to think. There's really not a lot of like huge impact second baseman, at least like in terms, there's probably 4 or 5 throughout Major League Baseball. So you look at it and you say, well, how do these guys make the team? Christian Campbell at second base, man. Christian Campbell, I think, has a real good shot to make the team. I like David Hamilton. I just think he's more of a depth versatility player instead of an everyday starter. What's up, Luca? What's up, Moose? I'm good, man. I'm good. I've been stressed the hell out this week. It has been nonstop these last couple of days, but we're here. We're here. I can't believe we only have 2 left of these. That's crazy. And we do have our members only live stream, so we'll do our members only towards the end of the month. I've got something special for that one. Aren't the rules who makes it? Yeah, the rules for the minor league playoffs are ridiculous. I think it's just because they don't want a ton of, like, I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of teams are like, man, I really don't want like our, top 10 prospects playing 170 games. Are we out of the playoffs? We're not in a playoff position right now, and I think it's even lower now. It was 2.4% chance last time I looked. I think it's even lower now. Let me see. No, 2.8% chance of making the postseason. Yeah, we did start good. I don't know what, it's a long conversation as to what actually happened. Am I a little bit crooked? Yeah, I was a little bit crooked. Maybe a battle between. Yeah, I'd love to see Grissom get a legitimate shot at second base next year. It's gonna be such an interesting. It's gonna be such an interesting spring training coming in next year because you're probably not gonna have. You're gonna have a very, very similar core of the team, but I think the outskirts of the team are gonna change a lot, which could be cool. I think O'Neal's gone. It seems like he strikes out way too much. I think, honestly, Wendell, I think you take the strikeouts with what he gives you at the plate. I'm looking at the free agent class for right-handed hitters, and if that's something they really need to go to, I just got a notification. Lee, thank you so much for joining the standing room. Thank you so much. As a special thank you to everyone this year, all standing room members are going to be welcome into our regular season ending members only live stream. So that'll be fun. Not sure what it means, but it's a fact. I think it's not a fact. It's a coincidence. A little bit of a difference, right? Right, John? I think, you could call something factual without it actually correlating. And I think that right here is sort of where it doesn't really correlate. Because at the same time, Alex Cora, it's John, I'm trying to tell you why it's not a fact that there's a difference between a fact and a coincidence, right? Because a coincidence are two things that happen around the same time that don't really correlate. A fact is two things that happen around the same time that absolutely correlate. And I can tell you exactly why they don't entirely correlate. The first reason is because around the same time, Rafael Devers hurt his shoulder. He has not been the same since that Colorado series where Alex Cora was extended. After that, you also were kind of falling down before that even happened. So leading up to the Colorado series where Alex Cora was extended, you had already lost your first series against the Dodgers. Then on top of that, too, you come out of that, you lose Slayton, you lose Martin for an extended period of time. All of a sudden, your bullpen goes to crap. Right? And John, I think it is. What's up, Genetic? How you doing, man? It is still like I understand why, and we've talked about this a lot. Why Alex Cora gets some heat for his record because, to be honest with you, it isn't pretty from August to September for the last 3 years. But again, you got to look at it in separate occasions because it's different reasons each time. Going back to 2022, the reason you fell off at the end of that year is because Xander, Evaldi, JD, those guys realized that they weren't coming back, and they stopped caring. They did. I mean, it's just as simple as that. That's not entirely on Alex Cora. This last year was because you relied so heavily on older veteran players who historically weren't very reliable. Corey Kluber, Chris Sale, James Paxton were all big pieces or were supposed to be big pieces of your rotation. In the second half, Corey Kluber had a phantom IL, then I think he was DFA'd and retired. James Paxton got injured. Chris Sale got injured, I think, twice. Right? So you look at that, and all of a sudden you go from, like, how is Alex Cora to manage a rotation where you're supposed to be relying on the three guys to hold it down that just aren't there? And then on top of that, you had Trevor Story come back too early. That wasn't Alex Cora's decision. So now you come to this year, and you say, well, wait a second. This is now 3 years in a row. Well, the first year, interesting scenario. Second year, kind of out of his control. This year, you come in and you don't have any expectations on this season. Alex Cora gets these guys to play really great baseball for a full half. Right? No one really talks about how good Alex Cora was for the first half of this year. And then you talk about why it fell apart. Well, it fell apart because instead of relying on too many aging veterans, you relied on too many guys with no history of pitching a full season or playing a full season. Your full rotation outside of Nick Pivetta was either a sophomore or a freshman in Major League Baseball in terms of being an everyday starter. That comes with arm fatigue. So, yeah, you could sit there and you could say it is a fact that Alex Cora is terrible in the second half. And you know what? You're not wrong. Factually speaking, he has not been good in the second half, but it's also you have to consider the idea that maybe the two aren't as correlated as you originally thought. Does that make sense, John? What's up, Fred? So excited to talk offseason and hot stove. Yeah, I'm excited to get there. We started doing it a little bit this week. I didn't even go over the Yankees series. I mean, I don't think people I don't care, to be honest with you. I like watching these games because I like watching Red Sox regardless. But I'm not at this point in the season, I'm not here to sit here and, live and die by every win and loss. What's up, Fred? Hope the Sox spend some money this season. A few good more players. We're a playoff team. I agree. Thank you so much for the kind words, Fred. Bullpen gave up too many games from the sixth inning on. Absolutely. What's up, Prodigy? How you doing, man? Did Alex Cora throw a punch at Aaron Judge? I know, kind of sounds like it. Hey, Lee. Hey, Jack. The fact that we haven't had a deep roster for a while now may in part explain those less than ordinary end of seasons. I think that's part of it for sure. That ball looked like it was getting yossed. I think it might be a strength and conditioning issue. No, because you look at the injuries, genetic, and I think we talked about this before, but the injuries this year. How are strength and conditioning going to help it? Right? Story landed on his shoulder wrong. You'd be the strongest person in the world. That's going to happen. Rafael Devers landed on his shoulder wrong. Tristan Casas swung a bat the wrong way. You could be as strengthened and conditioned as humanly possible. You could be a Greek god, and you could still do that. Tyler O'Neill is maybe the most in-shape person I've ever seen in my entire life. That doesn't prevent him from running head first into Rafael Devers' head, right? It just doesn't happen. Rocco Baldelli's the difference between the Twins and the Red Sox as a manager. Not sure what you mean by that, Griffin. How's life? It's, you know what? It's good. I can't complain. Big weekend coming up. Girlfriend's birthday. We're headed out of town. I don't think Cora is a problem. It's a Henry thing. It is. What's up, Jackson? Only want to trade Massa? If they like I've talked about before, they can get away with only trading Massa. The problem is Baldelli's a better manager. He has better tools. Look at their rotation, dude. The Twins rotation's much better than the Red Sox rotation. They also have better defense. Could we just sign Corbin Burns for the love of God? I will make a video crying. Real tears. Real tears if they sign Corbin Burns. They've been railed by injuries. Yeah. I mean, that's just, yeah. It's part of the game. It's just some seasons you get a lot, some seasons you don't. Look at the Braves. Yeah, Peter, we're going to have to. Hopefully next year I got to sit her down and say, hey. What do they do with Story next season? I think they play him at shortstop to start the year. I think Marcel Maya's injury, keeps him down. I would guess you're going to be 2 months in before we start even having a conversation about having Marcelo come up. So I think you'd hold on to Trevor Story. Hope he gets healthy, and then, maybe you move him, but that contract, man, is going to be so hard to move. Maybe you move him over to second base, right? I thought maybe you'd put Marcelo at second and then sort of flip-flop him once Story, once Marcel gets comfortable in Major League Baseball. But Marcel's never played an inning at second base. If you get Burns, how Bayo fits in Giolito rotation with Cutter as 6, long relief, we're chilling. Yeah, that's a good rotation. Sox are in a weird situation contractually. Massa, Gio, even Story haven't lived up to their contracts. Massa, I think, has, dude. I mean, you're paying him $18 million. He's above average player. It's just injury this year kind of screwed him, right? Giolito, yeah, kind of, right? You got screwed a little bit on that. The hope was he would be good this year and then opt out and you can go after younger pitchers, but you still get him for next year and he's going to be healthy next year. We'll see how that goes before that. Story, yeah. Story's been good at the plate lately, but yeah, it's Story definitely has not lived up to his contract. And it is a weird situation because it feels like all of them haven't worked out, right? Thoughts on, I haven't seen that. What position is Trout going to? Trade Massa for financial ease. The problem is who's going to take on that contract. Like, I'm worried with Massa that the Sox are either going to try too hard to get a actual return, or I'm worried they're going to try and trade him just to get money off. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be tough, dude. Like, if they try and get legitimate returns, no one's taking that deal unless you take all of their money, right? And for the Red Sox, you need to ease that financial burden for sure. If you're gonna trade them, that's what you do. Do you think they'll be crazy enough to trade Casas? I just like I said in the video, right? Everyone's got a price, in my opinion. The problem is it's either, everyone's like, oh, trade for Vladdy. Like, that's going to be so easy, right? If like they didn't even want to trade him at this year's deadline when he would have been worth a ton. They're not going to trade him this offseason. If the Blue Jays were going to trade anybody, it's going to be Bo Bichette. And the Red Sox should not get Bo Bichette. Like, the problem I have with trading Casas is use so many assets. Use so many assets up the middle with shortstop and second base that when you take Casas out of the equation, who replaces him? Who do you go out and get? Pete Alonso? Pete's demanding a huge contract. He's already, 31, 32, and he's a home runner, strikeout guy. Yeah, I get the right-handed hitting would be great at Fenway Park, but at the same time, too, he's not a good defender, and he's a home runner bust type guy, and the Red Sox biggest problem this year is that they end up striking out a ton. Like, it'll just add to the problem. I don't know. To me, just like, I really don't think the Red Sox trade Tristan Casas. It doesn't make any sense. And Marlins or Indians might take on some contract for a consistent bat. I don't see the Marlins giving any money away. I think they're going to break everything down this offseason. Excuse me. The Indians maybe, or I'm sorry, the Guardians, right? The Guardians maybe, but they're notoriously not big spenders either. I don't know. Those are interesting. Like, do you eat half of it? He's got $60 million or something remaining. Yeah, less than 60. You take 30 of it. I don't know, but even then, right? You're only saving $30 million. I know that sounds crazy, but to a baseball team like the Red Sox, it's not a ton of money. I don't know. Even if they don't extend Casas, right? Even if they can't get him on an extension this offseason, he's coming off of the worst injury of his major league career, with the worst bounce back of his major league career. His value isn't as high as you would hope it would be for the potential Casas has. So even if they don't come to an extension, they are planning on trading him. Wait a year. Trade him next offseason. Yeah, you lose a little bit of control, but if he's healthy, he's going to be one of the better first basemen in all Major League Baseball, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be a free agent. Right? So you have that guy that everyone wants in a free agent, and then you have Casas that you can move. I really don't want this to be another Doogie situation. Who? Casas? No, Like, what's Doogie's situation with Casas get into? First base, a real cornerstone. Casas, I think people genuinely forget that to start the season, Casas was the best first baseman hitter in the entire sport until he got injured. And then last year in the second half, he was the best first baseman. And overall, he was a top 6 first baseman in the entire sport at the plate. So, like, yeah, he is a cornerstone player. He just needs to be healthy. Attitude issues. Like, where are the attitude issues coming with Casas? I genuinely don't. I just don't understand. Is it the one miscommunication they had while he was rehabbing? Like, other than that, he just talks a lot. At no point has any of his teammates been annoyed with him. Has Cora had to sit him because of an issue? Right? It's not Alex Verdugo. Tristan Casas has never taken a game off that he has been in his entire life. I don't know. To me, the only attitude issues are that people don't like that he sunbathes before games and that he paints his nails. Those are the only 2 attitude issues I've seen it, and his teammates are perfectly fine with him. His teammates love Casas. In fact, guys talk about him all the time. When I was in Worcester, when the big 3 got called up, I sat down with Roman. I asked him before the cameras came on. I said, "Hey, what was it like having Casas down here?" He was like, "That dude only cares about one thing, and it's hitting." Right? Like JD Martinez was that kind of guy. He just wasn't as open towards the media. He's just a different dude. That doesn't mean he's a bad teammate or has attitude issues. I just don't get that. Like, everyone's so quick to be like, this dude strikes out a ton. Yeah, he's striking out a ton because he also hasn't played in like 4 months. I don't know. I like the rhetoric and the storyline around Tristan right now is, to me, entirely fabricated by people who don't like his personality. My time to shine? You think I should try out for WEI? I don't think they'd take me. Get Hogdale on EEI? That would be funny. They could conceivably spin Casas' supposedly eccentric behavior into attitude issues. You could. I mean, that's what people are doing, right? It's just no one really cares about, like, if your feelings are hurt that the dude paints his nails in sunbays, no one cares. Right? If the team had an issue with it, it would have stopped, but the team doesn't have an issue with it, so it's not stopping. I totally agree, Robbie. Like, people forget how good Tristan Casas was last year. People forget that Tristan Casas spent this offseason with all of these young guys in multiple ways. He went to rookie camp. He went to Trevor Story's camp. You know what I mean? Like, he was there for everything. Does Casas go deep while we're talking about him? Yeah, he does. He absolutely kick rockets a baseball. What, like, why do you want to get rid of this guy? Tristan Casas. I mean, what are we doing? This dude's a nutcase. Did you hear about the purple seat at Citi Field? Yeah, kind of a ripoff. Let's talk about Rafaela now, too. Rafaela, to me, like, slump that. Good. He should think he's awesome. The best players. Ricky Henderson talked in third person his entire career. No one talks about that. David Ortiz used to take phone calls during games. No one talks about that. Why? Manny, yeah, great. I mean, Manny's one of the best hitters ever, right? I don't know. You know my love for Duran, but he's to me the one to trade. Interesting, simply because of the high value, you get back more of a trade for him. You know, I'm curious. I'm really curious as to what teams value Duran at. Like, he's historically good. Like, this dude is having a historically good season. Like, he's the leader of the Red Sox. He's a spark plug of this team. Fans would be PO'd if he got traded. But at the same time, too, like, if you're the Seattle Mariners and you're looking at the entire skill set and you're looking at the age and you're looking at the statistics that he's put up. What's up, Mark? My question becomes, what do the Seattle Mariners value Jaren Duran at? I mean, it's high regardless. Right? It's high regardless, but is it enough to go and get? Like, that's the question, right? Does a team value a Wilyer Abreu or a Marcelo Meyer or a you know what I mean? Like do they want the players who maybe let a little bit less proven but are younger? Yeah, genetic. Like the Mets. What was it? The Padres, the Mets. Like, yeah, what pitcher are you going to get from the Padres, the Mets that's worth Jaren Duran, right? There's really two teams. Yeah, there's like four teams in Major League Baseball who could match Jaren Duran in terms of ability on the mounds, and I don't know. How'd we score? Tristan Casas yoked a baseball. Kirby, a reliever in cash. It's not even a conversation. See, yeah, to me, Jaren Duran's staying, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, would it shock me if they trade Duran? No. Chris Sale and Strider. But do I want him to trade him? No. You don't think there's any way Duran gets traded? I don't know. Make you very sad. Yeah, it'd make a lot of Red Sox fans very sad. But, I mean, like, would you still be sad if they traded him for, like, say they do trade him for George Kirby, right? Which I don't think happens, but say they do trade him for George Kirby. And then you come into 2025. Oh, that ball was tanked. Right? You come into 2025 with a rotation of Kirby. Let's say you go out, get Max Fried, Houck's your 3, Bayo, and Giolito. Damn, someone just ate it upstairs, right? And then your offense still looks like Roman Anthony, Roman Anthony, Story, Devers. Maybe you bring back O'Neal in the DH spot. Willier, Cedon, Teal or Howe, Campbell or Grissom, Casas in there, right? I don't know. But is Duran, the interesting thing about Duran, though, Jack, is that Duran isn't going to be wildly underpaid. He's going into arbitration off of the best year of his career. He's going to have a lot of things. He's going to have a lot of things going for him in terms of money. Right? It still won't be. What's his feelings? What do you mean, what's his feelings? Oh, his ceiling? If it was high as Duran? I mean, yeah. I think anyone on this team, you tell them that their ceiling's Duran, they'd be pumped. But my question isn't can Roman Anthony be as good as Duran this season? My question is, can Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and everyone else I just named still be a top 10 offense without Jaren Duran? I have faith it will. I understand Roman Anthony isn't and Christian Campbell aren't proven. I understand that odds are that a couple of these guys aren't going to work out. Man, that was a good pitch. But like when you're looking at the odds of a prospect, it's different when you're the number one prospect. But I love proven talent. That's fine, but at the same time, where'd those proven guys come from? Right? Duran at one point was a prospect that nobody wanted. They tried to trade him. Right? So you're talking about, yeah, proven talent's fine, but you have to be able to prove it at some point. Then they outprice themselves when we trade them. Well, that's a different conversation. Right? That's an entirely different conversation. But your original statement was, I like prospects but love proven talent. And every single player you see in Major League Baseball right now was at one point an unproven prospect. Right? And on top of that, the one thing, and I do understand that, and I've always sort of had the same philosophy, but at the same time too, Jack, when you look at it, and you say to yourself, well, it's unproven talent. Okay, but wouldn't you love to be the Orioles right now? Wouldn't you have loved to have been the Astros over this last decade? Wouldn't you have loved to have been the Braves over these last couple of years? Wouldn't you have loved to have been the Dodgers, who did it a little bit differently? We could talk about them in a second, but they also built themselves off of homegrown talent, off of prospects. The Cleveland Guardians this season and last season and the season before that when they were competitive. The Rays. Right? Wouldn't you have loved as a Red Sox fan to have a team that has competed like those teams over the last 5-10 years? Because I mean, no brainer. It's yes, right? 2018, obviously, you take that every single day of the year. And you had the opportunity to do that, to build out those guys and really lock in that core, and you didn't. Right, but right now what the Orioles are doing and why the Orioles are scary for the next 15 years or whatever it is. Lawson with a $1.99 super chat. This is 10th super chat in this stream. Can we get some likes on that message? 10 super chats is incredibly, incredibly impressive. Thank you so much, Lawson. He says, Bayo, Burns, Houck, Fitz, Gio. Cut a long relief. Yeah, that's great. Burns would be fantastic. Give me Fried. Give me Fried in there. Give me Kirby. Give me Gilbert. Give me give me Alcantara coming off of Tommy John, right? If that's the rotation you're going with, you get a legitimate ace on the open market or via trade. Come on. It looks great. Thank you so much, Lawson. I appreciate it. I just don't see any of these kids who are performing at the major league level, i.e. whoa. Getting traded? Yeah, I guess so. Absolutely, it's a debate worth having. I think Duran's an example of a prospect working out like Betts. If we dump him for more potential, I think we're waiting longer. Well, that's the thing, right, Jack? The conversation isn't so much we would trade Duran for a top pitching prospect or just prospect in general. I think the conversation is, would you trade Duran for an ace, a long, controllable ace that sits at the top of this rotation that becomes a Cy Young caliber frontman for the Boston Red Sox? Right? I don't think it's so much should we trade him for prospects while his value's high. I wouldn't trade Duran for any prospects except for maybe I don't even know who the number one pitching prospect is in baseball, but I don't even think you trade him for him. The goal right now is to compete in 2025, to be a legitimate contender in 2025. Right? So I think the debate more so is, do you trade him to make room for a legitimate ace frontline starting pitcher? What's up, Salty? Yeah, Fried would be fantastic. What's up, Wes? Please not Crochet. Crochet makes me really nervous. I'm kind of on board with that. I like Mark is high on Crochet, and there is legitimate reasoning behind it. But you look at the career numbers outside of this year, and you look at the injury history, and it really makes me nervous. But then the question is, I'd ask, which minor league comes up and is an all-star top 5 MVP discussion? Well, that's remained to be seen, right? Roman Anthony has the highest ceiling of all these guys. Roman Anthony has the potential to be a number 1 or number 2 in MVP discussion. That's who this guy could be, right? And again, Jack, I go back to everybody makes you nervous. Yeah, true. In a Red Sox uniform, injury-wise, everyone makes me nervous. I go back to the conversation we had earlier where I say, well, I mean, they don't have to be a all-star MVP candidate. If they are a Wilyer Abreu caliber player where he's a 120 OPS plus, really good defense, solid on the base pass, and you get 2 of those guys up there because now you can fit 2 of those guys in your everyday lineup as opposed to just one of them or neither of them, does that make up the difference? Does that still allow you to be a top 10 offense while also making your pitching a top 15 pitching rotation in the entire sport? Because if that's the case, wouldn't that ultimately, so say you go from the number 6 offense in baseball to the number 8 offense in baseball, but your pitching goes from the 26 pitching in baseball this offseason because of a trade to the 14th. I think you average those out and you're still a much better team that way than you are if you don't do that, right? And again, I'm not saying they need to trade Duran. In all honesty, a lot of people are putting out Wilyer Abreu. I think that's going to be the discussion. I think it's going to be Wilyer Abreu. But I think there's a legitimate discussion we have. Is Roman Anthony next Josh Hamilton? I hope not. You're trading Braden Montgomery for Crochet? No. No. Not even considering it, actually. Asa Lacy. Yeah, he's a good prospect. Dodgers can have Crochet. No, Wilyer was the piece with the Christian Vasquez trade. Are the Tigers trading Skubal? I'd be pretty surprised. I think the Tigers are looking at themselves right now. I mean, they're game and a half. There's a legitimate chance they make a postseason. Right? There's a legitimate chance they make a postseason. To me, unless the Tigers really want or need to I got it, Mike. I just responded. Have I determined? Yeah, it was, Brent, which is weird. I didn't get demonetized. Oh, I see what you mean, Eric. I see what you mean. At peak, I mean, maybe. Josh Hamilton was a different breed at his peak, man. He could have been something really special. It's tough making a comparison to a major league player with Roman Anthony. The immediate one that people said when he first got drafted was prime Christian Yelich. Like, if that's the player you get and you replace Duran with 2019, right? 2019 or 2018? Thanks, Mike. I'll let you guys know next week. We'll do our members only next week. What was I saying? I totally got distracted. Oh, yeah. If you get Christian Yelich out of Roman Anthony, you win, right? Fitz will win a Cy Young in his career. I love Richard Fitz. I'd be happy if he was an everyday 5. Red jerseys? Yeah, definitely have. He's a 3. Hey, if he's a 3, you absolutely... Oh, my God, that ball was peed on. Is that a foul? Any David Hamilton news? No, he's out for the rest of the year. They definitely played in their red jerseys. Last 3? Yeah, they honestly have been pretty exciting. Let me ask you, if you're okay with moving Duran, see, this is the thing, right? People, because I'm arguing sort of for trading Duran a little bit, I'm okay with them trading him. There are very, very specific scenarios where I would trade Jaren Duran is sort of my conversation that I'm having here. And I think the same can be said with Casas, although Casas, like we talked about, is an entirely different story here, Jack, because Casas doesn't have a number 1 prospect in baseball following him up, right? Casas, there's not really anyone that comes to mind in the Red Sox organization that takes over that full-time first base role. And on the market, I mean, unless you want to trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which in my opinion doesn't make a ton of sense because it doesn't look like he's coming to terms on a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays and is going to be a free agent next year, right? It's a little bit of a different situation. Penrod has wicked strikeout stuff. Yeah, Penrod looks fun, man. I'm real interested to see how he continues to grow. I really like Penrod stuff. Yeah, Guerrero's been a ton of fun to watch. I like the fact that they're putting these guys in here because these were guys that you had to make a decision on this offseason. Nice play, Story. Trading a guy with an 8 WAR is foolish. Trading a guy with an 8 WAR is foolish if you are trading a guy with an 8 WAR just to trade him. Right? If the idea behind trading Jaren Duran was simply just, we need to make room for Roman Anthony, see ya. Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, too, that's not really the situation. Because if you do trade Duran, it's very specifically going to be to get a frontline, ace caliber, Cy Young caliber winning all-star frontline starting pitcher. It's not going to be just simply to make room. Right? Which is why I sit here and I say, as we're talking about Roman Anthony singles in the top of the 3rd, 2-runner scores. Worcester extends their lead over Lehigh Valley 9-0. Who? That's the giant question in all this, Mark. That's the giant question in all of this, right? Is trading Jaren Duran straight up for a Bryce Miller or a Brian Wu worth it? In my opinion, no. I think you can get that done by not having to trade him. Is he worth a Logan Gilbert or a George Kirby or a Tariq Skubal, who, again, I don't think are going to be on the market? That's a different conversation. Right? But again, I don't think they're going to be out there. So that's why I continue to say I don't think that Jaren Duran gets traded. Think Bernardino stays? I don't know if Bernardino stays. Maybe he stays as a depth piece. Skubal, yeah. Skubal would be the guy you trade him for. No, I think that's it is a bit of a different statement. I think there are 2 or 3 guys you would put Duran on the table for. I just don't know. Those guys get put on the table. The Braves moved Grissom for Sale, yeah, but the Braves acquired Sale not expecting him to be a Cy Young candidate. Right, that's a little bit of a different story. So unless you go and you pick up an aging veteran player who hasn't been healthy in hopes that he could be a 4 or 5 and then he turns into an ace, that's probably not going to happen. And if that is what happens, Red Sox fans throw a tantrum. Oh, this is the guy we get when we're looking for an ace. We get Clayton Kershaw, who I know is a free agent, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't entirely correlate because the idea behind it for the Braves was different than the idea is going to have to be behind it for the Red Sox. Eric, I hate that idea. I hate the idea of Devers going to first base. I think it's really, really dumb. Devers notoriously not a good fielder. I love Devers. He's been better this year. He's your statistical worst infielder. Putting him in a position where he's going to affect the game more defensively makes no sense. Right? Even for 1 year. I just and on top of that, you trade Casas in a position where you have nobody backing him up. Instead of trading from an area where you could trade anyone from the middle infield. You could trade anyone from the outfield. And all of a sudden, you've got someone else of not always equal, but potentially equal talent able to replace them. That's the big thing for me, right? The Casas thing is more about positional depth and replaceability than it is about what he'd be worth in the open market. Plus, you'd be trading him at his lowest possible value. His value's got to be the lowest it's been over the last couple of years. I love Penrod and Murphy as studs in the bullpen. I want someone that's had a little bit more history from the left-hand side in the bullpen, personally. No one told me it's the 4th inning. Thanks a lot, guys. Disagree. Third base is far more difficult. It's not about difficulty. It's about potential impact. Right, we've seen how big of an impact it has. Remember when Justin Turner played first base for a little bit? He really wasn't very good. And no one talked about it, but it really hurt this Red Sox team, him essentially not being able to pick a ball last year. Or when Kyle Schwarber went over there and was terrible, right? Those were guys that no one talked about, but the first base defense is extremely important to this infield. You're talking about Rafi at 27. Turning into a what? A league average first baseman? It's just not going to happen. It's about the potential impact. Rafi gets what? Maybe 5 plays a game over at third base, if that. Casas gets 15. Casas plays solid first base. Yeah, he does. That's my point. What's up, Jonathan? Thoughts on maybe trade for Ryan Weathers? I honestly don't even know who Ryan Weathers is. Man, you guys are incredibly ahead of me. Yeah, he's been good this year. My problem is, again, you look at the overall, right? Not great. He's figured it out in Miami, but is that something that's going to continue? And what would it cost? When's he a free agent? 2029? Like, I would want a more consistent name in here. Yeah, they should be, Mark. They should be. You'll be all right, Jonathan. I believe in you. Tanner Scott for left-hander reliever. That'd be fun. AJ Minter's the guy I want. I think people. I don't see Devers play infield for much longer. He'll be a full-time DH like Ortiz soon. I think eventually, yeah. But I also think Rafi's very, very emotional. He's very like I don't know. I appreciate the conversations, Jack. I think people are gonna. I think people thinking we're gonna get an ace back for Duran are gonna be disappointed. He's 28. Why would any team want to trade for an ace and want Duran back? If you want trade an ace, you are a bad team. Yeah, no, Isaiah, because what you'd be getting for Duran, for a team like, it just depends on the team, right? For a team like the Mariners, they can give up a potential ace and have 3 more potential aces on their team, while also getting 2 of the peak years. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. 2 of the peak years of one of the best players in Major League Baseball right now, right? So it's about the trade-off a little bit. I think if FSG just spent on a free agent pitcher, we would mitigate a lot of the what ifs. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Keep the kids, make some room in the outfield, but don't trade Duran. How do you make room in the outfield, though? Think they're an anomaly? Yeah. Again, like I've been talking about this entire stream, my thoughts on trading Duran aren't that you need to trade him this offseason. My thoughts on Duran are if a very, very, very specific situation comes up, I don't think he's going to be off the table. That is my conversation. It's not so much that I think they need to trade him. I actually hope they don't trade him. I love watching Jaren Duran play baseball. That's not what I'm talking about. My conversation is more so if a situation pops up where a Kirby, where a Gilbert, where a Skeens, which won't happen, obviously, where a Scooble come up, are you okay with putting him on the table? I think my answer is yes, because of Roman Anthony. And not Roman Anthony alone, but the guys who are coming up with him. Do I see Campbell second base and Anthony and Teal / Wong in 2025, maybe opening day? I don't know that all of them make the opening day roster, to be honest with you. I don't think all of them make the opening day roster. I think the one with the highest chance is Christian Campbell, just because you have such a big hole at second base, and he could fill that hole defensively and offensively, especially with him being a right-handed power hitter. But I am curious if they want to give him more time. Anthony's right there too, right? I mean, but the question is, you got to make room for him. If you don't make room for him, do you hold on to him and let him sit in AAA until you can make room for him? That's the question. Yeah, and Anthony is only 20 years old, right? You don't need to rush him up to Major League Baseball. Any thoughts on Devers triggering Garrett Cole's early midlife crisis? That was one of the better games I think we've had this entire season. I'm genuinely, like, the Red Sox season has been fun. It's ultimately sucked again because of their second half performance, but man, like, that game was awesome. Yeah, he's just a dork. Like, that dude is such a goon. No need to rebuild the bullpen, just a tweak or two. The thing with the bullpen, Salty, is you're losing Martin and Kenley, who are the 2 big ones, right? Those are the 2 big ones. Those are the 2 big guys in your bullpen, and those guys are both gone after this year. So where do you fit them? Like, how do you replace those guys? And so it does sort of become a bit of a rebuild, just naturally. Liam Hendricks, I think, obviously takes over closing role, but you don't really know what you're going to get from him. I think the hope is that Slayton takes over more of that high leverage role, but you don't really know with him. So you do kind of need to rebuild it a little bit. It's not a full, like, everyone's gone, we're replacing everybody type rebuild, but I do think it's a bit of a bit of a swap a bit. What's up, King? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Explain to me why Wong sucks right now. Wong's defense has been bad all year. He's made up for it for his offense. I think he just went into a slump, to be honest with you. Do I think the battle next year for second is Grissom and Campbell? Mike, cover your ears. Yes. Yes. I do think that's who battles it out in spring training, and whoever's better wins. But I could also see a situation where they say, man, both of these guys are killing it. Do we put Christian Campbell in more of a utility type role? Why not move, say, Don to the infield? Well, the thing with Cedon is that second base spot, right? You got Trevor Story at shortstop with Marcelo Meyer in the wings, and then second base you've got Campbell and Grissom. So it's a question of where do you fit him in on the infield? What do you think about Masa, Yoshida? Oh, sorry. What do you think of a Yoshida Abreu trade for Luis Castillo? Yeah, that's the other thing, Mark. He could be the best center fielder in Major League Baseball. I love the idea of the Red Sox going to the Mariners and saying, look, dude, you need bats. Masa doesn't strike out. You led the league in strikeouts. Masa gives you contact. You've got power in that lineup with Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez and guys like that. You need people on base for them. We'll just swap contracts real quick, and we'll take on the extra money for Luis Castillo. I would hate to see Willie Abreu thrown into that, because if you do trade Masa, that opens up really a whole lot of possibilities, because now you can use the DH as a rotating DH. Now you can fit a fourth outfielder on your team while cycling all the outfielders in and out of that DH role and get them every day at bats. David Hamilton's going to be at second base. That's it. Trade Casas. Eric, welcome in. The resident guy who gets my face red is here. Hamilton's trade value, it's actually kind of high right now. Trade Yoshida and Abreu pitching, move Devers to DH, sign Bregman third base, sign Teoscar. No, you would only sign one of those guys, Bregman or Teoscar, and I don't think they trade Teoscar or sign Teoscar. And I don't love the idea of trading or signing Bregman either. I'm so used to talking about trades, all we talked about for the last 6 months, but yeah, I don't love that idea. I don't hate the idea of trading for Masa for pitching, which isn't going to happen, by the way. You're going to trade him for nothing, basically. Red Sox should revive the 10th player award, give it to Garrett Cole. That would be awesome. Oh, King, you got a new job? Congratulations. All right, make it 2-1. We knew a Nick Pivetta homer was coming at some point this game. Yeah, that Garrett Cole stuff was hilarious. That was one of the better games. That's got to be a top 5 game of the year. Yeah, Pivetta's had 4 games in a row where he's pitched really well. Should bring back the captain. Only if someone truly deserves it. And I don't know if there's anyone on this team that truly deserves it yet. Opening a new spot still. That's fantastic, man. Congratulations. Oh, that was Junior Caminero. That dude's going to be a beast, huh? Garrett Cole is just defeated. I would only ever approve a David Hamilton trade if it was Kirby or Scuba was involved. Mike's Jaren Duran is David Hamilton. I think Judge is the Yankees captain, is he not? Mike's going to boycott the Red. Everyone else is going to be like, man, I can't believe they actually got good pitching for David Hamilton, and Mike's going to be boycotting. Hey, what's up, AJ? Hey, well, I'll look out for you. See if I can see you. Actually, I'm going to Post Malone concert tomorrow, so I don't even know if I'll be able to catch most of the game. He's not? I thought they called him the captain when they signed him. Interesting. Christian Campbell has to be called up and play second base starting next season. I think there's a big potential he will. Done watching the Dodgers for the day. City Connect Verdugo jersey. Okay, I'll keep an eye out. Post Malone is good. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the country. I've never been to a country concert, so. Prospects to be traded. Let me look at their top 10, Eric. I always go to side. By the way, people always ask me, like, where do you get the rankings? I always do Sox prospects. I would most likely. I'll give you the top 3, Eric. I would say Chase Mydroth. I would say Miguel Blaze. Chase Mydroth, Miguel Blaze. So here's the problem I'm running into. The top 10 is Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Luis Perales, which I don't think they're going to trade any pitching, Franklin Arias, Miguel Blaze, Chase Mydroth, Yoel, and Cespedes. So you do have between Arias and Cespedes, you have a bit of an overlap, right? They're both 19, 18 years old. They're both shortstops. They're both absolutely crushing it. Do you have a conversation about potentially moving one of them? So maybe I would go Miguel Blaze, Mydroth, Arias. Trade Teal? Why in the world would you trade Teal? Is Mydroth coming up anytime soon? No, unfortunately, he deserves a shot up here. I don't think he's going to get one. You're losing to a team that's 50 games under 500? Been there. Is Verdugo's OPS below 600? No relation to the other ones. Yoelen, which is interesting how close it is to Yoenis. Alex Verdugo, under 600 watch. 657. He must have had a decent game lately. Oh, he had a hit again in the last game they played against us. Allman Brothers, yeah, kind of country. Not really. He does look bad with no beard. He needs to grow out a mustache or something. Yeah, I don't love the idea of Yelich. Yeah, but at the same time, too, Connor Wong hasn't been good. In the second half, defensively or offensively. And you don't have, you do have some other catching prospects. That's a tough one to say. Johan Fran Garcia is really good, but he's still years away. Again, it's that conversation of, yeah, maybe it works, but you also have to look at the outside situations. I know. I was just thinking that, Prodigy. Actually, I should change this. Yeah, it is kind of weird, Eric. Trade Isaiah Campbell, Christian Campbell, and Campbell Soup for George Kirby. We will give you every single Campbell we can get our hands on for George Kirby. How about that? So trade Wong and call up Teal? No, because you need a backup catcher, and I think Wong would be a really solid backup catcher. Jansen back, Danny or Kenley? Allman Brothers are like debatably Southern, especially in the 60s. They're pretty firmly a jam band. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. But I mean, when you look at the jam bands, man, that they've got a bit of a Southern. Most of them got a bit of a Southern twang to them. A little bit of country twang to them. Catcher Jansen, Danny, maybe. I don't love that idea either. Yeah, we're not trading the Rally Cat. We may need the Rally Cat at some point, but yeah, the problem with that, Jack, is they're really like the Red Sox need pitching, right? The Oakland Athletics pitching staff is not good. Rally Cat's asleep. Sorry, folks. Maybe we'll wake her up for the 8th inning or something. No. I'm if we need to, Jess, I'm waking her up. Didn't even play Rambling Man. What are we doing? It's like the hit song. That's like the song. That's a little bit of a hot take, Johnny. But I like it. I don't hate it. They have good pieces. Not really. Midnight Rider. Yeah, Midnight Rider is solid. The Allman Brothers do have some good music. I'm not a huge like jam band guy. Yeah, I feel bad for Dahlbeck too, Eric. I don't know why he wasn't picked up, to be honest with you. And what did they play? Offseason trade for Johan Duran. So we have Duran. Objectively, that would be very funny. Story's just getting under these. He sucks. Who sucks? Oh, that landed? Johan Fran and Jost Nixon are brothers? Yes. I've got an idea, and I'm surprised nobody's thought of this. We trade our whole farm system for Ohtani, Skubal, Acuna Judge, and sign Soto for $1 billion and Fried for... I don't know how anyone says no to that. Yeah, Story's been making a lot more contact, which is nice. He did come up in some big situations in the Yankee series and fall short, but I mean, at this point, what does it matter? Yeah, you should be running this team, Prodigy. Yeah, I low key kind of wish they just shut Rafi down. Like, it genuinely just kind of makes me sad. How can we have it? Because they want to make sure that Houck is good to go before they. They want to make sure Houck is good to go before they announce him fully for tomorrow. Sounds like he should be good. Ethan, yeah, he did strike out. He always kind of struck out a lot. It was definitely always above average. Why isn't Grissom up? It's a good question, actually. I think it's because they feel comfortable with Rafael, but Rafael isn't really hitting either. You know what, Eric? I don't know, because they don't really play Sogard. Ohtani isn't going anywhere. Imagine the Dodgers signing that deal and then trade him. That would be wild. David Story was into much in the box when they signed him. No, he definitely was. Like, he's definitely offensive potential. But yeah, I don't really know why Grissom isn't up. Hey, what's up, Jesse? Welcome back in. I'll hire Chaim Bloom back to be the analytics guy. It is kind of interesting. Oh, right now? Yeah. Oh, okay. Salty. I see what you mean. Yeah, I agree. But he is giving him. He's giving him something. I mean, before this game, what was Story at? Since he came back, I mean, he struggled at first, right? What does he look like now? He's getting closer to league average in terms of the OPS plus. Oops. They only have. Oh, I did 2023. I was like, well, what are we doing? Um, See how he's been since he's come back. Yeah, I mean, it's been solid. 276 average, 323 on base percentage, 379 slug is the issue here. But outside of that, I mean, it's been solid. The problem is he has one home run. Outside of that, he doesn't have any extra base hits. But I mean, 276, right? And that power is going to come into play at some point. You get 276 from Story, you're in a real good spot. Obviously, that's only over 8 games, so it's a little bit of a week. It's hard to make any sort of instructional interest in that. Sox win. I'm going out to smoke a cigar tomorrow. Ooh. I'm doing all right, Jesse. I'm doing all right, man. How you doing? I'll be honest, I kind of want Detroit to make it. Detroit would be kind of fun. Clip is here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the presence. I agree, Jack. I can't legally show that, Prodigy. Question, are y'all in the mindset that the season's over? Do you actually think there's a chance? No. I don't think there's a chance. Marcel Meyer bust? Yeah, that's an overreaction. If the Sox go to... yeah, I'm looking at 2025 now. Accounting homework? Couldn't be me, dude. I could never be an accountant. I can't stare at those numbers all day. Mike, I'm so sorry. Just know we're here for you, man. Let us know how it goes. Recent video? Which one? The Craig Breslow comments one? Yeah, I just at this point, I think anything you get from ownership, it's sort of just open, right? It's you like I don't think there's a fan out there right now who hears what ownership or even Craig Breslow. And look, I don't put the blame on Breslow. I don't put the blame on Breslow at all because I think he came into this situation, right? But he's also he has to talk like that. That's what he has to do. He's not going to come out and say, oh, I was told by ownership that ball's slammed. Make it 2-2. Sox got to start scoring. Yeah, I don't know. I sit there and it's just empty words at this point. Yeah, I agree, Tracy. I actually think Breslow's ideologies behind what he's been doing has been solid. The execution's a different story, but I think the ideology behind what he's done in terms of moves has been solid. Am I a Bobby Dahlbeck fan as a person? Yeah. Bobby Dahlbeck's an extremely nice, polite person, so I'll always root for him. I think I've told this story before. When I first got my Woo Sox media pass, I'm still nervous going down there, by the way. But every time the first time I went down there, I was so nervous I didn't talk to anybody. And Bobby came up to me and looked at me and was like, "Hey." The way you predict what the front office is going to do is anything that doesn't cost money. Yeah. I think at this point until they say, hey, we're spending, and then actually do spend. That's sort of how you got to go about it. What am I drinking? Just water. Just water. The last couple of streams, I've only brought one water bottle in here, and by like the seventh inning, I'm like, so this time I brought in a couple of different things of water. Got my Woo Sox cup though. Looks tasty in that cup. Yeah, the koozie and everything. Got to keep it cold. Oops. Skeptical of Breslow. Grounded and knowledgeable is a really good way to approach it. I think grounded and knowledgeable is like I think he understands what his job is here. I think he understands what the expectations are. How did I get the Woo Sox pass? I got a day pass, a media day pass, and then I had to apply for a full-time pass. And I'm hoping I don't have to apply again and I can just get next year's. Yeah, he is getting squeezed tonight, Robbie. You think Turner? Imagine Tom Werner comes out at the end of the year presser, which they're gonna have. Like this is my biggest problem with the comments that ownership makes is that you like over the last couple of years, they've had so much time to make these comments, right? In seasons, even in 21, there was a lot of hope coming into the offseason because they went so deep into the playoffs that the ownership didn't have time to come out here and say all these things, right? These last couple of years, man, they've had from September to the end of October to just talk. And 99.9% of the time when an ownership of any team talks, it ends up biting them square in the ass. I agree, Clip. All talk, no action. Yeah, Jesse just said the same thing. And yeah, that's my problem with it, right? If they said nothing coming into this offseason, and obviously if they didn't have the ability to say anything, we would be much happier regardless because they'd be in the postseason. But like I said at the end of the video, man, I want this front office. I want Breslow to just work in silence. That's what I want. Work in silence. Stop coming out here. And what Breslow said really didn't. In my video, I specifically put it at hint, right? He hinted at spending big because logically, you hear that conversation, you see what he says, where once you have this homegrown talent, now you can be aggressive in adding in legitimate free agents. Your mind automatically goes to, okay, there's no possibility that you aren't looking at this team and saying there's no homegrown core here. Look at the midseason additions. They really didn't put up anything to acquire them, and it totally showed. See, you say that, and yet, everyone was complaining that they traded York or that they traded Cavadas or that they traded Lugo. I mean, they traded legitimate pieces. Maybe they were outskirts. They weren't the top 10 guys, but would you have traded the top 10 guys in a year where, they weren't trying to win anything? I don't think it would. Imagine they traded Marcelo Meyer for, I don't know. Trade Marcelo Meyer for Jack Kerr or George. I just mixed up like 7 different names there. I don't know why. Who's Jack Kirby? That's a real guy. That's a comic book writer or author, isn't it? Or artist? They were not trying to win anything? No, I'm not saying the deadline they weren't trying to win anything. What I'm saying is this wasn't the year. They said that from the beginning. that they weren't going to fully invest in this team. I don't know why anyone we talked about it leading up to the deadline, right? They were going to make, they were going to make moves that were on the outskirts. We said that. I hope they don't keep Pivetta. I wonder if Jack Kirby likes baseball. I don't know why that name came to me. I was watching a Stan Lee documentary recently. Nicky York got called up. Yeah, I hope the best for him, man. Probably not, mostly because there's not a single chance. There's not a single chance that what am I talking about? Oh, that Henry or Warner speak, and that's the reason Kennedy's always speaking, because they don't want to. There's no way. Okay, we're still celebrating this home run. Come on. Can't trade Pivetta. He's a free agent. Yeah, the Pivetta trade worked. I thought so, Jack. I thought so. Hey, how about we take the guy who's clearly injured out of the game? They get a better mouthpiece than him? Sure. Oh, yeah, of course, Jesse. Subscribe to your YouTube as well, I believe. I actually subscribed on both my personal accounts. Low clip, very low. Teal's been on fire, but very low. I would say outside of any injuries, probably none. Pivetta's a good pitcher when he's not a bad pitcher. Yeah, exactly. Is George Kirby considered a 1? Yeah, that's the guy who's finished top 5 in Cy Young voting. He's a 1. No, actually, Garcia and Sims are coming back, apparently. They're doing a rehab assignment in Worcester tonight. I don't know why. Like, what is that going to do? Trade for Kirby Puckett? Yeah, trade for Kirby Puckett. My uncle loved Kirby Puckett. Garcia was actually better than Sims in his last 3 starts. I don't know. Eric Sim. Is that the dude who what is he? He hits tanks or something? Was it Momentum Baseball? I don't really watch his stuff. I do watch is it the is it the Bat Bros? I don't even play baseball anymore, but watching those guys like talking to bait bats, I don't know, it just calms me. Too bad the entire trade deadline's on the IL. Yeah, it's not fun. Anthony endeavors for Machado will save the franchise. There it is, folks. Perfect. Perfect. That's it. That's what we've been missing. Did they really, Wendell? That would have been interesting. How's Quinn Priester been? He's been adjusting, Dinah. The thing with Quinn is that he was adjusting everything basically. So to me, it's not so much about the ERA results as it is about the movement results, the strikeout results, and the walk results. So in that sense of the word, yeah, he's been better. But if you're just looking at ERA, not great. I can't believe the Casas and Teal for Vlad proposal. I don't get everyone saying they need to trade Casas for Vlad. I don't get it. It's driving me nuts. Did I interview Quinn Priester? I did. Quinn Priester interview is on my channel. If you go to the player interview tab, there's a pretty decent amount. I think I might have some pretty fun interviews for the offseason lined up too, by the way. Game's going off. What was it? A 2-run shot? I'm about to see. Is Quinn at 3? Interview Shohei. Yep, that's a surprise. Oh, yeah, it is a 2-run home run. All right, so we're going to keep talking about the offseason. We're just going to kind of ignore everything. I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping to get more next year. We'll see. Yeah, the Red Sox got some good names in their system. I'll give you that. Like how much of an upgrade is that? Put the Woo Sox score up. Did we just watch the Woo Sox game? Yeah, Jesse, that's sort of been my point. Like people are just like, oh, he came back and had 2 bad weeks. He's ass. The Blue Jays will take him, right? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last year with Casas Casas was better. Casas was a better player last year, and you're still sitting there saying, "Oh, this dude will never be Vladdy." He's 25 and has 6 more years of control or 5 more years of control. Vladdy's got 1. Oh, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Look up a game from 2018 on YouTube and show it. Nope, can't do that. Those guys got demonetized. I will get demonetized. Do I think the Woo Sox could beat the Red Sox in a 3-game set? No. Pitching would get toasted. Agreed, Mark. Totally agreed. Appreciate the cat. I like the name. Wanted them to win the next 3? Yeah. Would have been nice, but, this point's about figuring what you have for next year. What do I see the bullpen looking like in 25? In terms of people who are staying, I think Slayton's staying. Oh, for the love of God. Can we just get out of this inning, please? I think, who did I say? Slayton's staying. I think Hendricks is in there. Michael Fulmer might be an interesting name to pay attention to. Whitlock, I think, is in the bullpen. If the Red Sox do their job this offseason, I would love for the Red Sox to have Cutter Crawford in the bullpen next year. And then you need lefties, in my opinion, from there. I still think Zach Kelly's stuff is incredible, and I'm a huge Zach Kelly supporter. Still have the jersey. I just think they need to be sure next time they call him up. Now it just becomes who are the reliable lefties, right? That's where I want them to add this offseason. Kelly's not a high leverage guy. Yeah. So, yeah, I think you put Kelly in as a 6th, 7th inning guy. He's really good. Extend Duran. There's no reason to extend Duran. He's under team control until 2029 or age 33. The only way they would extend Duran, Ben, is if they get him on a team-friendly deal that avoids arbitration for the next few years. I don't think it makes much sense for the Red Sox to sign a guy until he's 35. Well, good thing that was That was Boozer, Skyler. Are they going to have winter weekend? Yeah, they'll have winter weekend for sure. It has to be for legit ace. I just, like, if you're going to trade for legit ace, I've been saying this all stream, Jesse. Like, you just have so many other areas of legitimate depth. First base is like the one position on the diamond that you can actually improve. Like you look at catcher, right? Even if you want to trade Wong, you got Teal. First base, you got nobody. Second base, you got Campbell, you got Grissom. Shortstop, you got Meyer. Third base, you don't really have anybody, but you're not trading Devers. Outfield, you've got Roman Anthony. You've got Braden Montgomery, right? You've got options to fill those holes. You don't have anyone at first base. Even coming up over the next couple of years, everyone wants to point to Blaze Jordan. I like Blaze, a really good guy. I don't think he's that cornerstone first baseman that we have been looking for in Casas, who could be. 4% Prodigy. Winter weekend booze bet. Please, for love of God. I just want 1 year. I just want to go 1 year where they have legitimate impact players by the time winter weekend rolls around. Please. Minter's the guy I go after too, E. Minter's it for me. Polar Pete, I don't like the idea of Pete Alonso. I think he's too expensive for what he's going to bring. Oh, in terms of what the talent would have to be? Yeah, I agree with that, Jesse. You think we sign Burns or trade for Crochet? I don't know. I would be happy if they got Crochet. But say this offseason, they get Crochet, and then 2 weeks later, Seattle trades Bryce Miller or Brian Wu, I'd be upset. I'd rather have those guys. Do I think they sign Burns? I think they should. Do I think they will? My hopes aren't very high. New Sox could. He's a free agent clip, so they could. Caleb Ferguson could be solid. All I want from the left-hand side, all I want from the bullpen is consistency. That's all I want. I'm so sick and tired of it being a roller coaster every year. You've had one consistent guy over the last 2 years, really two in Chris Martin, but even Chris has been injured. Kenley's been your one consistency, and people hate him. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that, Mark, but I also think he could be a legitimate long relief bullpen ace. Right? His fastball was his best when he was in the bullpen. And I love Cutter. I do, but if you can get Burns and trade for one of these guys that we've been talking about all stream and move Cutter to the bullpen, your rotation's stronger, your bullpen's stronger. It works out both ways. And yeah, Cutter's fine in the rotation, but he's better. He's not better in the bullpen. If the Red Sox do their job correctly, you know what I mean? Like, he becomes a bullpen ace. And you replace him with Giolito, who, has a little bit more of that veteran leadership. And that's not to say I don't think Cutter can't be a good starter. I think he could. Maybe they do Giolito 1 year and then bring Cutter back into the rotation. You would have Whitlock as a closer next year. I don't think it's a crazy hot take. Here's the problem with that is that he's coming off of not pitching at all this season or for the last, 6 months. And then he's going to have to build himself back up over this offseason, whereas Liam Hendricks has proven he can be an all-star closer and has been pitching this year going into a normal offseason. So I think I take that guy first. Maybe Whitlock develops into the closer, but I think I take Hendricks first. What would the rotation look like? So in order to get Cutter into the bullpen, you'd have to get 2 starters, right? The hope is that you would go out and you would sign a number 1, a Max Fried, a Corbin Burns. And then from there, you would hope that you would trade for another one, right? Bryce Miller, a Brian, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's what you'd have to do to get Cutter in the bullpen. Trade Cutter for, say, an Andrew Vaughn or MJ Melendez. Why? Like, why do we need a first baseman? We have a first baseman. We have a first baseman that could be potentially one of the best first basemen in baseball for the next 6 years. Right, VG? Like, there's no reason to me to trade Casas. And Lou Merlone said Casas is a trade piece. I just don't get it. We're going hat off. Maybe that's the problem. What's up, Ethan? How often do pitchers have a serviceable season, go backwards to the pen? I mean, it's a great question, right, Mark? But again, you're looking at floors. I'm looking at ceilings. That's the difference, right? How deserves a spot in this rotation. You paid Bayo to be in this rotation. I think he has the higher ceiling than Cutter Crawford does. And you need to get some star power into this rotation. If that requires taking a guy who can give you 180 innings of serviceable baseball into the bullpen, well, then you just made your entire team better, because now if someone gets injured, instead of having to go to a Rich Hill, you go to a Cutter Crawford. That's fine, VG, but who's going to give up a superstar pitcher for Tristan Casas? Rally Cat. If Rally Cat wakes up, I'll go get her. Rally Cat's asleep. I just heard one of them. Make a video on who's actually available in free agency for pitching. Yeah, we're once the season ends, so over the next couple of days, we'll start getting into a lot of these. Right. You're putting less stress on everybody. You'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he's in there too. And there are people within the Red Sox organization. There are people within the Red Sox organization who are pretty comfortably saying they don't expect Cutter to be in the rotation next year. There's not going to really, Jack, in terms of starting pitching, there's not really going to be anybody. Starting pitching is such a hot commodity. It always has been, but specifically recently, it's been really, really, really hot. Even teams that are like the Mariners are the most desperate team for offense in the entire sport, basically. Even I think it's going to be tough to pry some of them out of there. We finished 83 and 81. That's 164 games. Framber Valdez. Is he a free agent? No, he's not a free agent until next year. That would be a fun guy to have on this team. Going to be on the move? Where's he going? All right, Ethan, be well. Yeah, but Mark, then you run into a very similar situation you had last year where your highest potential player has no real buildup in terms of fatigue. Like I would so much put like my top 5 starters that I want the Red Sox to get. I don't think Crochet's in there. They could, Ethan. I don't know. That isn't a lot, Mad. But do the Astros need offense? I don't know. I guess Bregman's leaving, but knuckleballer. I feel like the Red Sox just retire knuckleballers in honor of Tim Wakefield. Got to update the innings. I can't wait to start talking about off-season news, man. Like, we sit here and we debate all this stuff. I just want to know what they do. I wouldn't be shocked if Verlander retires after this year, man. I'd be so mad if the Red Sox signed Verlander over any of these other guys. All right, Skyler, have a good one. It's about availability and not spending money for this front office. Then your Crochet one doesn't work because he's historically not been very good with availability. Which one of them caught that? If the Red Sox wanted to trade with the Mariners for pitching, who realistically could go? It's going to have to take a big name. Willier, Duran, Meyer. One of those big names would have to be right there. In really any conversation with any of those guys. And Willier, I think, is a bit of a tier down from those guys, but yeah, affordable players isn't necessarily a bad thing. No, Ethan, I don't. And I don't think Chris Sale said it himself. He doesn't think he did. He would either. Available on the market. Well, like, again, you talk about it in the Mariners. Mariners need offense, and there's not a ton of offense on the open market unless on the free agent market unless they want to sign Tyler O'Neill and go after Ohtani. I don't know. I'm sorry, not Ohtani, Soto. I don't know, but feels like it'd be much easier for them to trade for a controllable offensive piece. Excuse me, then sign somebody. I know. I'm waiting for it, man. I need a picture of you at that game, by the way. What are you guys hearing? Like, is there like static? I don't know if it wouldn't have been a good season, Tracy. I don't think he's a Cy Young candidate if he's here with the Red Sox. Are the Braves in a playoff position? I haven't even looked at the NL wildcard race. I stopped looking at standings. Just totally stopped looking at them. With the Red Sox just fading into oblivion here. Totally fading. Sucks. The Twins are 3-7 in the last 10 games, and the Tigers and the Mariners are 7-3. Brutal. Now the Braves are a game out. Wow. That'd be kind of wild if they didn't make it. They've been such a powerhouse for so long. It was just sort of assumed they'd make it. The Phillies are really good, huh? Oh, the Phillies are the best record in baseball. I didn't know that. I knew they had it for a while. I didn't know they still had it. What are you talking about, Mark? I'm not putting out a rhetoric. This is what Chris Sale said himself. How are you comparing Michael Wacha's situation in Boston to Chris Sale's? That's crazy. Totally different. If that happens, we will have a very unfun video. Thoughtful. I think Miller and Wu are the guys they would consider bringing in. Wouldn't pay much, and they are young. I'd definitely say trade Hamilton, some other left-handed prospect bat. Yeah, I don't think you're getting him from there. So what? What do you mean, so what? How do I even answer that? What do you mean, so what? How are you supposed to be like, oh, crystal ball crap is hilarious? Dude, you're playing crystal ball assuming he would be what he is in Atlanta, in Boston. You're doing the same damn thing. You just have a different viewpoint. So you're like, oh, you can't. This is the only option, right? No. The only reason I'm saying this is because Chris Sale himself went on an interview and said he felt like a failure in Boston that affected every time he got out on that goddamn mound. I mean, what are we doing, Mark? How many times do I have to say this before you actually understand what I'm talking about? I'm not sitting here being like, oh, in my opinion, right? How am I doing it? You brought it up. Yeah, Wendell, it hasn't been fun. Think about how you talked about ceilings versus floors. How do I view Willier? I think, Willier, if he stays here, could be an everyday right fielder. Oh. I mean, what is that? What was that? That whole play. What was that? Ceiling wise for Willier, I don't really know what Willier's ceiling looks like. Is this what Willier's ceiling looks like, right? It's hard to tell because he's so young. But if this is Willier's ceiling and, we get more consistency out of the ceiling, a 120 OPS plus, he's going to be a strikeout guy. Not going to take a ton of walks, but he's going to give you some power. He's going to give you solid defense. That's a really good team. That's a really solid player. Casas being Casas at defense. Casas is a good defender, man. Sometimes I just don't get it. I wonder if it was because he spent so much time trying to get himself right at the plate, he just sort of ignored a little bit on the field. I don't know. I wouldn't assume that would happen, but what will it take for the Sox to be better defensively? New personnel? I don't know, man. It's interesting because a lot of the Red Sox defensive problems are mental defensive mistakes, right? It's not getting the right route. It's not. Have a good one, Ethan. It's not so much the athletic ability that's holding him back. It's a mental side of it, and I don't know if that's a personnel thing or if that's something that players just simply need to figure out on their own. The other part of it too, thoughtful, is you look at the team and defensively right now. It's all young players, right? Duran's, this is his first. Last year was an average defender. This is his first year being a legitimate good defender. Cedon has played 3 positions now, all of them legit premium positions on the diamond. Willier's brand new for a full season. You lost Story, so all of a sudden you had a stopgap at second base. Thankfully, thankfully Cedon was able to take off shortstop. It's a bit of everything, right? It's injuries, it's youth, it's maybe a mindset thing. How do they fix it? I think experience fixes a lot of it. I think better luck injury-wise fixes a lot of it. I think a lot of the players coming up fix a lot of it, right? Roman Anthony's a really good defender. Christian Campbell's a really solid defender. You get those guys in there. Does your defense look a little bit better because now you've got options between the few? Yeah, I think that does make it better. I think next year, even if they don't go out and they get a Paul DeYoung, who's like a really great defensive player, I think they are still going to be better defensively. Willier's an 820 OPS guy with 20. Yeah, I think that's sort of a ceiling mark, and that is a really good ceiling. Solidify second base defense, the rest will fix itself. Devers and Casas getting better defensively. Yeah. All depends on that second base D. Yeah, I think a lot of the errors we saw this year specifically came from Hamilton at shortstop, Valdez at second base, and then just bonehead plays in the outfield. Yeah, I appreciate you being here, Ben. Right? Like you clearly could see, and then a lot of it too was you also had Dom Smith, who was terrible defensively for a little bit over at first base, and I'm not saying that means Casas has been better lately, but man, he was bad at defensively over there. Garrett Cooper, remember that name? Zach Short played some innings, right? You just had so many. You just had so many random people thrown in here. It's hard for these guys. If you're coming off and on the IL, it's hard for you to get that experience. Rafael gives me a lot of hope. He's so versatile at a young age. Pretty wild. Yeah. He's an incredible talent. You're absolutely right. And you're absolutely right about the chase rate thing, right? JBJ in his prime. I mean, you have to go. I think you have to go JBJ in his prime, Mark. I think you have to. I want to see a full season of Cedon as your center fielder before I make any blanket statement. So I think right now it has to be JBJ. Yeah, it is thoughtful. It absolutely is. Grissom at second, yeah. True. Grissom was look at the second baseman you had this year. Romy, Connor Wong, Valdez, Hamilton, Rafaela, Sogard, Grissom. Am I missing anybody? I probably am. Zach Short probably played some second base. You had Pablo Reyes at some point on this team. That guy is every Red Sox fan. I mean, what is it? I just named 10? What was that, 10? Right? It's hard to maintain defensive alignments and be solid defensively if you've got a new guy over there every 10 days. Pumpkin seeds? I'd mess up some pumpkin seeds right now, actually. Yeah, that was also a big problem to me. Remember that like stretch was like a week where it was Pablo Reyes at shortstop and Manuel Valdez at second base, And it was like every time he hit the Larry David music, dun, 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 you know what I mean? Like the clown car music. Dun, 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 boop, bum, ba, dun. You know, like every time something went up the middle. It also doesn't help the players when there's... Yeah, exactly. The most intriguing thing for this spring is the second base battle. Campbell or Grissom, assuming they're not traded this winter. Yeah. I think it might be the most interesting battle. I think there's going to be a lot to pay attention to in spring training. Campbell, Teal, Anthony. Meyer will probably be with the big league club, but he won't start opening day. Bullpen, I think there's going to be some fights for some back-end bullpen spots. Yeah, spring training is going to be interesting. But we also don't know. And on top of that, you got all the new additions, hopefully. The Red Sox make at least some new. They have to make some additions. Any addition, just give me something to talk about, please, Breslow. Last year was kind of boring, dude. I felt like we did mostly Cora Judge situation. I didn't even see the Cora Judge situation. I just saw the Cora Yankee situation. Was there? Oh, that he threw it, Judge? Good. Why are we upset? Why are we upset that he threw it Aaron Judge? Good. You very purposely threw it Rafael Devers. You intentionally walked him the next batter. Good. That's your best player. That's the face of your franchise. Defend him. Yeah, the Red Sox didn't pay Devers for his defense. Have you ever been to Fenway South? I went when I was young, man. I think it was like 2009 because there were two World Series trophies. So I was like 11. I think that puts it about I think that puts me at about the right age. But yeah, it's I haven't been in a while. That's one of my goals, I think, over the next couple of years is to get down there. Now we shift to Yankees can't win the World Series mode. I can't wait for them to lose in the postseason again. I cannot wait. What do I think about signing Gleyber Torres? Don't love it. Torres didn't have a great year this year. He's never been good defensively. He's been up and down with the bat. I think he could do a bit better. If you want to bring in a right-handed bat, I think you go with... in my opinion, the best option is just to bring back Tyler O'Neill if you really want to go that route, or make a big. That was a strike. What is this? What is this umpire's zone? Is anyone in Tropicana right now? They're showing every single Red Sox fan Tropicana. If you're in Tropicana right now and you get onto Nesson cameras, I'm gonna every time someone comes on, I'm gonna describe them, and if you hear your description of yourself, just give a little thumbs up. How do I feel about signing Ahmed Rosario? No, I don't like that at all. He's never been good defensively. He had that solid season offensively with the what was that? The Dodgers? Yeah, I'm good. Is he even in Major League Baseball? When was his last game? The 12th? It looks like he was DFA'd. Oh no, that was recently. Yeah, I'm good with him. I'm very good. I'm all set with Ahmed Rosario. Looks identical to Fenway. Yeah, I need to get down there. That's going to be my goal this offseason, try and get down there. Yeah, they only have 2 hits. One of them was a tank, so we'll give him that. Tyler's going to want too much cash. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, he was really good this offseason, but he's also extremely injury prone, and that he didn't beat those battles. Okay, Middle-aged man with a beard, tattoo. Dang it. So he's always had injury histories, right? He didn't really beat those allegations this year. He definitely played more than he has in the past. He also had multiple stretches where he just wasn't very good. He made up for it by being insane in other stretches. We kind of saw like Adam. He's like a younger Adam Duvall a little bit, and Adam Duvall didn't really have a market this offseason. So I don't know. He might want, $25 million a year or whatever it is, $20 million a year for a couple of years, but is he going to get that? I don't know. What did Teoscar get this offseason? I forget. What was it, like 17? Yeah, so Teoscar made $15 million, but that was a 1-year deal, right? And Teoscar, I don't know if it was a similar season. Yeah, I mean it was fairly comparable to what Teoscar did in 23. I don't know. Microphone's freaking out. OBS does this sometime. Hold on, chat. Test. Better? Is the audio a bit better? It's my internet right now that's crapping out a bit. Battle through it, chat. We'll be back. Come on. Yeah, I stopped recording in OBS because I couldn't do it. I'm just gonna check and see what I sound like right now. Of course, I got an ad. Now, the picture is skipping. Yeah, the picture is because of my internet connection right now. But all right, you guys can hear me though. As long as you guys can hear me, we're good. Now I honestly can't tell. Okay, yeah, you guys can hear me. Yeah, it's OBS itself. OBS isn't really made to run on a Mac computer. It's really made to run on a Windows computer, and I just don't like Windows computers. So I think we're going to be dropping frames for a little bit here. Probably work a little bit. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. It's because they don't rein in those young hitters and just let them swing at everything. I hate that excuse. They don't want them to lose their aggressiveness. Well, you don't want them to lose their aggressiveness. It's about finding a balance. And really the only way that you're going to be able to truly find a balance is to figure it out at the plate, right? If you get in there and, a guy like, I'm trying to think of who you're talking about. Like, they pinch hit for Tristan Casas. That's crazy. Even against a lefty, that's absolutely ridiculous. Either way, looking at, say, Don Rafaela, yeah, he needs to rein it in. And yeah, they should do something about it. But some of these other guys, like Willier has been aggressive, but he's also been 20% better than the average hitter in Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? Like his aggressiveness makes him a very good player. So I don't know. We could sit there and we could talk about, the aggressiveness needs to get better, but wait, what, Mark? I don't even get that. Tee shot on your roof? Like you're hitting golf balls? Shankfest. Oh, you live in a golf course. Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, but how do you learn that, right? Alex Cora can't go up there and put. Is that Romy? Am I an idiot forever doubting it? Yeah, I am. I'm an idiot forever doubting it. Any updates on Garrett Whitlock? Nah, he's out for the rest of the year. Probably not. All right. I said something. I said it was dumb to pinch hit, and then he immediately did it. That is on me, folks. Man, is this going to work with us glitching a lot? I can't even get it. There we go. Romy Gonzalez. Story, dude. Story striking out here. 100%. I wonder if I stop stream and then restart it, if it'll work. I just don't want to have to redo the entire stream. I'm nervous if I stop it now, it's not going to be able to come back up. I don't know. That was a good hit, though. It's Fatsy, he needs to do his job. Well, then you also have to give him credit for them being a top 10 offense in the entire sport for 70% of the season, no? Right? Like, and on top of that, too, how does Pete Fatsy himself completely change, say, Don Rafaela's approach? I mean, genuinely, what do? Have him take a pitch? And you're saying bench these guys and they'll learn. How are they going to learn on the bench? What's that going to do for them? Nothing. Right? It's going to do absolutely nothing for him sitting on the bench. Oh, now I know not to swing in a slider on the left-hand side. Yeah, great. They've been saying that their slider, not to swing at a slider for they know that. They know that. It's about in-game experience, and that's what this season was about. There's a reason they let Cedon play every single game, basically. It's not because they think he sucks. It's because this is a year for him to develop so he can be a big part of 25. You simply can't blame Fatsy for everything. Right? You just simply can't. And some of these guys, you're never going to get them to swing and miss less. Tyler O'Neill's a guy who's done it for 6 years. He's a bad hitting coach. Dude, they've been a top 10 offense in baseball for the last 3 years. You're just taking the singular bad things and being like, this guy stinks, and not looking at anything else. Right? I mean, what are we doing? Are we not going to give him credit for helping Jaren Duran become? Is that only on Jaren Duran for becoming one of the better hitters in Major League Baseball? Is that only on him? Right? Is it only on Wilyer for succeeding in his rookie season? It's all on those guys when they're doing well, but when they're doing poorly, it's all on Pete Fatsy. Like, at some point, it's about the players. And a lot of the reason that they are having issues is because they are playing their first full year of Major League Baseball. Teams are coming at them with different strategies. And this is really the first time that they've had to truly make these adjustments. Continue to give him cover. You're not answering my question. Is it only Jaren Duran for what Jaren Duran's been doing this season? Because if that's your answer, then you're flat out ignoring all the positives Pete Fatsy has done. Rafael Devers was having a career year up until he got injured. Is that only because Rafael Devers is a good player? And genuinely, answer my question. All of the good things that have happened offensively this season, is that only on the players, or maybe does that have something to do with the coaching? I'm waiting. All right, guys, I'm going to try something because this is driving me nuts. This lag is driving me absolutely insane. So I'm going to try something. Okay, so you didn't answer my question, E. Answer the question, then we can continue on with the conversation. Do you credit anything to the offensive coaches if they are doing well? Do you credit them anything? Do you credit them on Duran's historic season? Do you credit them on Rafael Devers' best game or best season until he got hurt? Do you credit them on what Wilyer Abreu's been doing? Do you credit them on the first half, say, Don Rafaela had? Do you credit them on what Tyler O'Neill has been or Rob Refsnyder has been? Do you credit them on that? That is my question. I'm not having the conversation any further with you until you answer that, because we need to get a basis here on what you truly blame and what you truly believe on this team. All right, chat. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to see if it works, because this is driving me nuts. And if it continues to do this, it's going to continue to drive me nuts. Nope, not the question I asked, E. You're still not answering my question. Answer the question, then we can continue this conversation. I'm going to try something. If it goes out, I'm so sorry this is ending so early, but I have to try something. Right? Yeah, I have to try something, or we're going to have a terrible stream the rest of the way. All right, here we go. Wish me luck. If not, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Here we go. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Someone answer me if you can hear me. Yes? All right, it worked. It worked. Yes. Okay, E, now the floor is all yours, brother. Answer the question. What are your thoughts on prioritizing acquiring left-handed pitching and right-handed bats? Are they equally important with O'Neill here? Does it make sense to get lefty pitching? Well, O'Neill's a free agent, so that's a bit of a different conversation. In my opinion, it's about getting the best talent, right? I've always sort of been the guy who said, you know, we could get, and the Red Sox have had some of the best lefty hitters in baseball on their team. Tyler O'Neill at points has been the best lefty hitter in baseball. Rob Refsnyder has been the best lefty hitter in baseball. And you still struggled against lefties. Why? Because, yeah, getting a right-handed hitter would be great, but also at the same time, too, you need to figure out a way to get your truly impactful bats, your Casases, your Devers, your Durans, to hit well against lefties. To me, it doesn't really matter what the handedness of a player is. To me, it matters how they impact this team. And again, what are you going to do? Right? You have to have those guys impact as many games as humanly possible, which means they have to be able to hit lefties. Grab a bat, I'm in. I'm coming. I'm assuming you got off your Wi-Fi and then logged back on. No, I just closed out OBS and opened it back up. Guaranteed money would be crazy, Mark. Baseball players already make absurd. Aren't baseball contracts guaranteed? No. Like if you DFA somebody, you're still on the hook for their contract. E, dude, answer the question. That's all you have to do. Oh, was it sarcasm? Let's be fair, this team is not close. Football doesn't. This team is close to the playoffs. They are. They simply are. Next year, they're going to be more experienced. These guys are going to be getting into closer towards their primes. You're getting more really high caliber prospects. You add in a couple of players to this team, they are absolutely a playoff team next year. Yeah, I don't know, Jesse. I Googled it, said you could do it. I was like, oh, no, I don't believe this. We need Billy Miller. Good switch hitter. Changes so much. Yeah. Good switch hitters. A great switch hitter does change everything. But are they willing to spend more money? Even if they, and like, look, obviously I want them to spend money. But even if they don't spend money, they can improve this team without spending money. And to be honest with you, even if they don't spend money, you're still going to be a better team than last year, I think. Who are you losing in the offseason? That was, I mean, it's really O'Neill, right? What are you going to do to pick up O'Neill? E, you're not answering my question. Once you answer my question, we continue to have the conversation. I don't know why you can't just answer the question. I think anything pitching wise, in my opinion, Ben, is way more important to the Red Sox success than bats are. You could find bats. You can find bats. Yeah, it happens about once a month, Jesse. Really to improve the pen and losing Kelly and Myron, definitely. Yeah, I in my opinion, the priority list to me goes, oh, come on, Wink. Oh, that's not getting them. Yeah, thank you, Devers. Here's my priority list. Starting pitching, because if you get starting pitching, you make the bullpen stronger by pushing guys into the bullpen. Bullpen, right-handed power bat. Because I just don't... I don't know. I just don't... Like, people are putting such a big emphasis on a singular right-handed power bat that's going to completely, totally change how they face righties or lefties. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I mean, we sit here all the time, and it's the righties are hitting the lefties. Look at Tyler O'Neill's OPS and OPS plus against lefties. Look at Rob Refsnyder's OPS plus OPS against lefties. Look at even a guy like Romy Gonzalez against lefties has been really good. We have pieces already that crush lefties. The problem is that your big pieces don't. Right? The problem is your big pieces don't. Tyler is gone. I don't know. I'm not totally closing the door on Tyler O'Neill. Oh yeah, I'll get that when the Red Sox are doing well, Jesse. When the Red Sox suck, they don't even pay attention to this place. I sit here and I think we'll see, Mark. I mean, I cannot sit here. Nice play, Story. Oh my God. But everyone says we need a more balanced lineup. Like, look at the lineups they put out. Look at the lineups they put out for left-handed pitching. It's been like 6 righties in a row, and those guys, the 2 of those guys will make contact, but the big guys that you need to play and win games don't hit lefties. That's the problem, right? So what do? Oh, bring in a big guy to hit lefties. Great. You had Tyler O'Neill this season. You still couldn't hit lefties. It's about getting this team to understand how to hit lefties, not just a singular right-handed power bat. And Mark, I understand why people are saying, oh, he's going to want too much money. There's no way he's coming back. I simply cannot get myself to go into an offseason where I'm just assuming that the Red Sox aren't going to make any moves worth note in terms of monetary value, because then what does this channel look like for the next 6 months or the next 3 months or whatever it is? What is it? It's October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, 6 months, right? What is it going to look like? Am I just not going to talk about any free agent because there's no chance they're going to, like, I cannot do that to myself. So, yeah, we're still going to talk about the possibility of a guy like Tyler O'Neill coming back. It's just what's going to happen, because if I don't, we don't have anything to talk about. Yeah, Jack, there's a ton of in-house potential from the right-hand side. Story. Say Don, if you could figure out how to stop chasing, could be an impactful right-handed bat. Grissom, Campbell. All of a sudden, you're looking at this, even without Tyler O'Neill, you've got 4 potential impact right-handed bats in your system or on your team already. You don't have to go out and spend $20 million. Or people are saying trade Meyer for Brent Rooker. What are we doing, right? No. You're still going on about Pete Fatsy, and you have not once answered my question. I mean, what are we doing, E? You just refuse to answer the question, have a debate, or do you just want to spew whatever it is you want to spew and just not have a conversation about it? Like, I just don't get it. All I'm asking is you are blaming Pete Fatsi for all the problems on the Red Sox right now offensively. Do you give him credit for all of the good things that he has done defensively? That's the game. What is that? Is that all 3 runs? Really thought we could have made a nice push for a wild card spot. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. I certainly did. Hitting coach is suspect. I think we can have a normal conversation about this. Right? We can have a normal conversation about the idea that they may need a new hitting coach. Because there are things this season that have stood out in terms of, why are they doing this? Why do they continue to do this? Where is the adjustments? What do you mean I've refused to admit this offense has stunk since the All-Star game? What are you talking about? For the entire second half, we've made video after video talking about how bad this offense has been. I'll pull them up. I will pull up at least 15, 20 videos talking about this offense. I've openly admitted that this team has been bad offensively since the All-Star break. Really bad. Yet you sit there and you refuse to have a conversation about it. You just refuse to have a conversation about it. You just answer my question. I will not respond to any more of your comments until you want to have a sensible conversation about this. Until you can answer my question, I answer none of yours. That's it. That's it. All I want is for you to have a reasonable conversation with me. Answer the question. That's it. Can 2025 come any quicker? I'm about to lose my mind, Christian. I'm about to lose my mind. Need 1 or 2 right side bats? My question, but this is the conversation we've been having, 603. What is one more? What is one more right-handed bat going to do to turn this offense into a team that can hit lefties? What is it going to do? Because you look at it and you say, well, Rob Refsnyder did really well against lefties this year. Romy Gonzalez did really well against lefties this year. Tyler O'Neill did really well against lefties this year. Why are they still losing against lefties? What's the common denominator? At least we get to see Luis Guerrero. I mean, yeah, dude. Let's get 2 of the top 10 hitters in the entire organization's history to be our hitting coach. That would be great. But at the same time, too, it's like, you know, sometimes those really great guys don't understand how to coach, right? Who was it? Was it Bonds? Who was the hitting coach for a little bit? And they were like, yeah, man. Or was it Griffey? It was either Bonds or Griffey. And they were like, yeah, the way you're explaining this makes no sense. And he just doesn't know how to explain it in a way. It's just what he can understand. Think Teal will be up next season. I don't know if it'll be right away, but Teal will be up next season. A-Rod is a hitting coach? That would be so funny. Yeah, I think it was Bonds. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Andrew Bailey can't work miracles. I think it was Bonds for Miami where the players were like, this is incredible having Bonds here, but the way he understands the game is like anyone ever understands it ever. Like he's explaining stuff to us and he's like, how are you not getting this? Well, because I'm not the greatest hitter of all time. What a Roman splits, righty lefty. I don't know how accurate I can get that. Let me see. Let me see what I can get for you. I think I could probably get game log. Okay, 2024 player splits. So he's actually better against left-handed pitching. Right-handed pitcher versus left-handed batter for Roman Anthony this season. 276 average, 375 on base percentage, 496 slug with an 870 OPS. And then against left-handed pitching, he's hitting 320 with a 417 on base percentage and a 495 slug, so about the same slug for a 912 OPS. So he's actually better against left-handed pitching. And I don't know if they're going to spend money. I would love for them to. Who do you think backs up Wong next season? I don't know. It's a good question, Tracy. I do think there's a chance Teal's up here to start the year. I would give it like a 50-50 shot, to be honest with you, especially if they don't really go after. I would be kind of surprised if they brought back Danny Jansen. Maybe they go out, they get like a Tyler Heineman just for a couple of weeks maybe. Just so they can hammer something home with Teal, right? Is anyone listening to the broadcast? What is Cora saying to Wink? I'm glad it was interesting for you, Thoughtful. Kyle Higashioka. Yeah, but is that someone you signed for just a couple of weeks? Matt, I don't know how to thank you, man. I truly don't. Can we get some likes on that message, please? I know there's only a few people in here, but hey, Corbin, thanks for the lives. In regards to Whitlock, the worst thing for the Red Sox could have done was made him a starter before 2024, 5 years straight. He pitched in the 70s. Best year was 2021. He should be closer to a setup guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt is unbelievably generous, guys. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. I don't know how to thank him. Okay. In Whitlock, the worst thing Red Sox could have done was make him a starter. I don't think it was the worst thing they could have done, right? Because I think he still ends up getting injured some of the ways he did, even if he's in the bullpen. But I will say going forward, I agree that he should be back in the bullpen. Yes. I think they tried it. It was the first year was a smart idea, right? He was doing so well in the bullpen. He had that pitch mix. Let's see what he could do. This year, I think there's a conversation to be said that if you had done your job right, maybe Whitlock should have been in the bullpen this year, but I don't know. I do agree, though, going forward, yeah, absolutely, he needs to be in the bullpen. I think there's just been too many injuries. And, folks, that's the finale. You should, Jack. He deserves to be on there. Is the window starting to close on Blaze? I could see him packaged. The Whitlock situation, similar to Daniel Bard back in the day. Yeah, Bard was a little bit different because it was mentally, right? That's what sort of got to him. I don't know. Hopefully, he can finish at 500. Yeah, going 81-81 is a win at this point this year. So yeah, I agree with you, Matt. Going forward, he absolutely should be in the bullpen. Sox are officially under 500, folks. Yeah. I mean, this team's not good right now, but we only have a couple of these left. I think next week will definitely be more off-season for sure. I mean, this whole stream was off-season stuff. But I think next week we'll hopefully maybe we'll get a little bit of something in terms of an extension or something. Maybe we'll get a promotion at some point, I hope. Right? I don't know, man. I'm ready for 2024 to be done. I've moved on mentally. But I appreciate you guys being here. Means a lot. I mean, the Red Sox are just a shell of themselves. You guys are still here debating ball with me. It means a lot. Huge thank you to Mr. Mad. Huge thank you to Lawson. And huge thank you to everyone, recurring members, new members. Thank you so much. If you are new here, make sure you guys have hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because we talk Sox every single day, but one day during the weekend. And we do one of these every single week. If you haven't already, make sure you guys have hit the like button as well, as it just helps these videos out a lot. I appreciate you, Jesse. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the kind messages. It really means a lot. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I will. I'll let you guys know how it is next week, or how it was next week. I'm interested in it. 99 cents from Prodigy to close out the stream. A fitting way to end it. Thank you, Prodigy. The college man spares a bit of change. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. On your way out, make sure you guys like that message. As always, everybody, I will see you. We're talking a whole lot of off-season stuff at this point in